guest. Welcome to today's Big Brother Over the Top updates and spoilers. Our house guest of the day is Paula Boone. Thank you so much for your support. I hope you're enjoying the season. And if you guys want to be house guest of the day, check out our Patreon link in the info box below. Alright, so action-packed. Yesterday, they had the Power of Veto ceremony, and because of America's Care Package, we had 2 veto holders. Alex went first. She decided not to use her veto. Justin did use his POV on Chrissy, and then Scott nominated Shane in his place, which means that we've got Shane, Danielle, and Neely all up on the block. All late-night jamboreers. Alright, jamboreers. So then, a little while later, Big Brother gathers the house guests in the living room because guess what? BB is throwing a scary, sexy Halloween party. Is it a sexy, unique restaurant, sir? Yeah, well, they're having a Halloween party, and all the house guests have to wear a costume in order to attend. So Scott comes out of the DR with this, like, freaking plastic pumpkin with all these sheets of paper in it with, like, costumes written on it. So basically, he draws a costume, and somebody has to claim it before they can move on to the next one. So it all shook out like this. Big Brother is providing these costumes, by the way. It's not like a do-it-yourself situation. So Chrissy's going to be a creepy doll. She jumped right on that. Shelby, Day of the Dead Girl. Morgan, a witch. Justin, zombie fireman. Shane, a vampire, if he's around for it. Whitney, a devil. Neely's going to be a zombie nurse. Jason, a deadly doctor. Why does the guy have to be a doctor and the woman's a nurse? Just saying. But anyway, Alex is a mummy. Scott will be a werewolf. And Danielle, a vampiress. How does that work out that Shane and Danielle are both going to be vampires? But, you know, again, if they're both around for it. Okay. So anyway, that's fun. I'm looking forward to that. So Alex lets Shelby know that Scott is not going through with his whole blindside the other side plan this week because, as we know, they were planning on telling everybody that they were voting out Danielle, but then they were actually going to vote out Shane, and as long as America plays along by voting out Danielle, it would be a tie, and Scott would break the tie, and Shane would go. But now, they're like, what? Scott's going to be telling Jason and Justin that Shane is going. So Shelby's like, why is he doing that? What's going on here? Now, we know that Alex and Scott are working with Jason and Justin now. But Shelby's just like, why would he do that? That really, you know, screws over people who have already talked to those guys and said that we're voting out Danielle. So then they're like, okay, moving forward, if anybody asks us who we're voting for, we're going to be really vague about it and just say that we're going to do what Scott wants. Alright, so news of Scott's doings and this new plan spread around to the other ball smashers. And again, they're also suspicious. Like, why is Scott giving Alex all this information and not the rest of us? Like, why is he so close to her? Why is he telling Jason and Justin about the blind side? So they're not idiots. They know that something's up here. They're just like, what the frig? So then Scott and Justin were chatting in the HOH room, and Scott's like, here's how it is. I want Shane out this week. So he's going through his reasons. He's like, I can't trust Shane. He already turned on the 4-guy alliance. We've heard this so many times. And he's saying that Dani is not as good of a competitor as Shane because she's played in every competition so far and she has won 0. So he feels that Danielle and Shane would both be targeting him and Alex, and he wants to protect Alex. So he's saying, you know, Shane is better at competitions, so we should get rid of him and keep Danielle. So Justin's like, alright, Danielle's really manipulative, but if that's what you want, I'll do whatever. So Scott's like, now with the votes, like, feel free to still vote Danielle out because it would keep our new alliance under the wraps. And also, if there was a tie, it would be way more entertaining for the audience. Scott really wants that tie. I think it's like part of his BB bucket list or whatever. So he's like really pushing for it. But they're deciding they're going to talk to Jason about it. They'll see what happens. So then Justin lets Jason know about the new plan, that Shane is actually going home, not Danielle. And he also lets him know that Scott is hoping it's going to be a 4-4 split vote. So then Jason's like, I don't know if this really makes sense. Like, why would we keep Danielle? She's definitely a better player. So Justin's going through explaining Scott's reasoning for wanting Shane out. And Jason's like, I guess that kind of makes sense. But he's realizing Danielle is going to see that her whole team voted her out. Is she still going to want to work with them after that? So they're worried about that for like 2 seconds, and then they're like, oh, there's no way that Danielle's going to work with the other side anyway, so nothing to worry about there. But while they're talking, Shelby walks in and busts up the conversation. She's just like, this is weird. Why you two in the have-not room? Neither of you are have-nots. So she reports the suspicious activity to Scott. Scott just like brushes it off. He knows what's going on. He's like, oh, they're besties. They talk all the time about everything, whatever. They were not working with me. Okay, so then last night they had the live diary room, 7:30 p.m., Big Brother time. So here are the questions. What obstacles have you faced since your last live DR? How do you feel about the nominations for the week? How have this week's America's votes affected your game? Has America's involvement made you change up your strategy at any point in the game? I hope so. What do you think about the care package this week? Was it good or bad for your game? How does the outcome of the veto competition affect your game this week? Now this next question was interesting. What alliances, if any, are you in? If more than one, which alliance are you most loyal to at this point? I think it's interesting to note that most of the people in the house right now are only really in one alliance, which is crazy. I feel like the last few seasons, like, everybody and their mothers were in like 50 alliances. So it's interesting that, you know, a couple of people are either only in the Late Night Jamboree or they're only in the Plastics. You know, there's some crossover now that Jason, Justin, Scott, and Alex are working together. But I mean, other than that, there's not that much overlap there, which is really interesting. And I'm not sure if it's just because a lot of these people didn't watch the show before, so they don't know what's going on. But it's definitely giving me some throwback vibes to like really early seasons. So then the next question, if you're a nominee, what's your plan to say? Then after that, if you're HOH, how'd it go? Did you suck? I wish they would add that little, did you suck? Do you want to win the upcoming HOH comp? How important is it to your game? And last but not least, they're like, anything else you want to say? Alright, so I think the most notable diary room session last night was Shane. He was freaking losing it in there. He could barely put a sentence together because he kept crying. He would like start to say something and be like, no. Sorry, I'm sorry. I mean, he was really struggling in there. And I mean, like, it's sad to see people cry, but part of me is thinking, like, was he just doing that to try to get sympathy from America, or was he serious? I don't know. I think it could have been a little bit of both, but, like, also, you freaking just met this girl. Get over yourself. All right. So, also, it's worth noting that Shane at that point thought that he was still staying this week. Okay, so let's talk about something else. The Late Night Jamboree was in the lounge room minus Neely, and Danielle was like, how do you think the Plastics are going to vote? And Justin says, I don't know, which is a nice change up from, I already know. So he obviously knows what's going on, but he's trying to play it off like he doesn't know. And Danielle's like, okay, here's what's going on. I would like you guys to vote me out if you find out that the girls are voting Shane out. She wants to force a tie to get more blood on Scott's hands, and also she said that the Late Night Jamboree won't have to decide between herself and Shane. They'll leave it up to Scott. So then she's saying, like, I guess if they find out that the girls are voting for her to vote for Shane, so it forces a tie again. But I don't think that would work because America's vote would put a dent in that. You know, it wouldn't work. But whatever. So she wants as much blood on Scott's hands as possible. So then Jason and Justin are chatting alone, and Jason is really freaking out now. He was already worried about keeping Danielle, but now that he's heard this plan of hers, he's like, oh crap, this is like exactly what Scott was wanting anyway. She came up with this freaking deal. She's on the same strategic thinking level as Scott and Alex. He's nervous about that. So he's like, we gotta think about this again. Maybe it's not a good idea to keep her. So then Jason, Justin, and Scott were in the backyard, and Jason is campaigning for Danielle to go. He tells Scott all about the plan that she came up with, and Scott's like, I don't see how this really affects us. Like, we're gonna get rid of her anyway. Whatever. Now you have her blessing to vote her out, so it's fine. So Jason is arguing Shane would be lost without Danielle because she's really the strategist out of the two of them. No joke. And Scott's still saying he wants Shane out. He would be really pissed if Shane made it further than him or Alex. Scott's got a bad case of that tunnel vision, I'll tell you that. I'm surprised that Scott's being like that because as a super fan, he should know that that's like one of the biggest downfalls of a lot of players. You can't have that tunnel vision. But anyway, Chrissy, Neely, and Jason were strategizing in the backyard. And Neely is telling everybody about her eviction order. She wants Alex out, and then Scott, and then Whitney. So then Neely's saying, if I win HOH, I want to put up Shelby and Alex, totally scare the crap out of them, you know, put that fire under their butts, you know, make them feel how much it sucks to be up on the block fighting for your life, blah, blah, blah. And she's saying Alex would be her target, but she does want to give her a chance to play in that POV because that's just how she plays it. So then if the power of veto were to be used, Scott would go up in that person's place. All right. I just want to say I really don't see Neely joining that new alliance with Scott and Alex. She is super, super stubborn, and she really does not like those two. I think maybe they should just, like, not try to pull her in because it's not looking good. So this is where things get really crazy. Shane joins the group and Jason starts freaking spilling the beans about Scott's plan for the votes. So he's like, from what I've heard tonight, the girls are bamboozling us and they're gonna vote out Shane, and then Scott's gonna break the tie and Shane's gonna go home. So they're just like, what? Oh my god. So then you've got Scott and Alex up in the HOH room. They're totally on board for this alliance with Jason and Justin. They don't even realize that Jason is freaking blowing this crap up right now. But he still wants to work with them. It's crazy, but we'll get there. So Scott says that he is totally with Alex and Shelby. That's his main group. But at the same time, he does want to work with Jason and Justin. He also wants to keep the other girls close because they're not coming after him. So basically, he's working with, like, everybody except for a few people. But I guess he's got his pyramid of alliances. So they both agree. They're ready to cut the other girls. And Alex even said in her live DR, she will cut her sister. Like, she's all for it. Which is sad because Morgan's in the diary room like, I'm the closest to my sister and we're going to keep working together. That's so sad. Alright, so then a little while later, Jason goes up to the HOH room. He tells Scott, the other side knows what's up. Yeah, maybe because he just told them. So he says that Justin told them earlier by accident, which is true. Because Justin was just like, yeah, the girls say that they're voting out Danielle, but Shane's going. But at the time, Jason kind of like covered it up. He was like, how would that work if we're all voting out Danielle? So he kind of fixed it and everybody was just like, oh, that's just Justin not knowing what's going on. Yeah, so that did happen, but they know about the plan because Jason just told them. But Scott's like, I don't care. I still want Shane out. He is not budging on this. So then, for good measure, Jason decides to spill some of the other side's secrets to Scott. He's like, yeah, these cats want you and Alex out. Yeah, their target next week is Alex, but you would be like the backdoor option. So that only makes Scott want Shane out more for some reason. So then Shane and Danielle have a late night conversation about the real world. They both want to make it work outside the house. Blah, 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 blah. Good for you. Alright, so then we get a Jason monologue. And he's saying he really still thinks that it would be smarter to evict Danielle. I gotta agree with him. And he's saying she's only going to be more focused with Shane going because he's a distraction to her game. Once he's gone, she's going to be like laser focused. Okay, so then he's talking about how he really does want this alliance with Justin, Scott, and Alex to work, but he doesn't like that Scott has this tunnel vision and he won't compromise on who should go this week. It's not a good sign for him. And then he apologizes to America for playing this rat game right now. He's going back and forth between the two sides, but he's saying like what I did last time I was on didn't work, so he's trying to change it up. But this is scary because I don't think he's gonna be able to keep up with all this stuff. It's a dangerous game he's playing right now. But anyway, the only other thing of note last night, Justin like slipped into Morgan's bed at like 2 something in the morning and like tried to hold her hand, and she was just like, no. But he still slept in there, and it was like, what? What is going on? But anyway, nothing really happened today so far. They're all just laying around. Like, it's definitely way more boring on eviction day than it is on a regular season. I'm not really sure why that is. It just seems like by the time eviction day rolls around, they're not really campaigning to stay. They're not trying anymore. But the eviction is later tonight. Paul from BB18 will be hosting tonight's HOH competition. I think the rumor is that it's going to be that lucky shot one where they have to like roll the ball down the curved board thing. So that should be fun. It's kind of like a crapshoot, so anybody could win HOH. But let me know in the comments who you guys are rooting for. Do you think Shane or Danielle should go this week? And until tomorrow, much love.